Welcome to Airborne, coming to you from AirVenture 2024 at Whitman Regional Airport in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Coming up on our program today, Jack Pelton looks forward to AirVenture 2024. The BD-4C is alive and kicking. The Risen aircraft program has come to Oshkosh nonstop across the Atlantic. These stories and more coming up on this AirVenture 2024 special edition of Airborne Unlimited. Here are some opening remarks from Jack Pelton. Jack Pelton has been leading EAA for more than a few years and is looking forward to at least 3 more. But his plans for AirVenture 2024 promise for an amazing event.
I appreciate everybody's attendance this afternoon, and welcome to Oshkosh. We started the week heading into the weekend, which is our normal, what we call load-in the campground, with really equal to or records equal to last year as far as the number of campers who were arriving at that time. Just a kind of a quick overview on what to expect this week. As you know, this year we're going all out in celebrating the Royal Canadians' 100th anniversary. The content from a military standpoint is a little higher than in prior years. Today we already have on the plaza the B-52, a C-17, and a C-130. The U.S. Air Force Material Command is going to have lots of displays out. They actually procure all of the aircraft for the Air Force. Some of the C-47s that made the trip to Normandy last month for the 80th anniversary, they're here this year, and they're going to be flying along with some fighter airplanes from World War II, including a newly restored P-47. From a home builder standpoint, which certainly is where our history initially started many years ago, Burt Rutan has been one of the true aviation legends and pioneers in aircraft design, technology, probably most famous for Scale Composites in Mojave, where he did so many various prototypes for defense contractors and private companies alike. He's making it back this year, and he's going to start off his week at Theater in the Woods tonight to give one of his 4 talks that he'll be giving throughout the week. As far as interesting themes, one of our themes for this year is inspiring the future of aviation. Whisk is here on site. We have a amphibious Beaver that's fully electric powered that's here. There's a Caravan that's got one electric engine and one is not. So we're starting to see that evolution of the new technology that's coming along here on site to be showcased.
The BD-4C is alive and kicking. Among Jim Bede's many designs, none was more successful or proven than the BD-4. Now a new generation of offerings surrounding the BD-4C offer incredible value and the chance to get yourself a rugged 4-seater that makes no excuses.
Until the first day of Oshkosh, no end of surprises, a lot of really interesting news. But then again, what's old may be new again. I know Jim Bede back in the day spent many lunch laughing over this joke and that joke and some jokes that shall never be repeated again, and flew just about everything he ever did. I don't know how many versions of the BD-5 I did, the BD-4, so forth and so on. So it's back. It's back in a big way. 2 versions. Tell us all about it.
Sure. First version is under BD Aviation, which is the traditional kit offering, where the builder can build it any way they like. The second offering is more streamlined. It's under SureWings, which is offering a complete pre-selected equipment list, and really the only option today is color. We will have an engine option in the future, but that's going to be sometime 2025 after a lot of testing. And I call this SureWings because, in my opinion, I was building something that was sure to perform, sure to be safe, and sure to be economical.
This is a really complete package. It's got a chute, it's got air conditioning, it's got avionics, and all for $247,000. By 4-seat standards, that's pretty damn good.
Yes, and the airframe is large enough, strong enough, and has enough useful load to where we could put 60 pounds in a canopy and 35 pounds in air conditioning. But we also gave up some weight by using some modern avionics, so that helped a little bit. But we still have a useful load of about 1,100 pounds.
That's a fair amount.
Yes.
But at the same time, for the true home builders, BD Aviation will still sell you part of a kit, all of a kit, pieces of a kit, what have you.
Correct. And they can still get support in doing whatever they want to do with their build. So everything will move forward with the best of both worlds under two different companies that are both subsidiaries of Aero.
The Risen aircraft program has come to Oshkosh nonstop across the Atlantic. They flew all the way across the Atlantic in a Rotax-powered Risen, burning only 42 gallons. And now we get a look at what could be the coolest aircraft at AirVenture.
There's these crazy pilots who flew all the way across the Atlantic and did it on 42 gallons. And I guess what? You out-crazied me, and I love it. Tell me all about the trip to Oshkosh.
We took off a little south of Milan. We landed at Stornoway in Scotland. That was an easy trip. We were touching 210 knots sometimes. Average speed was about 190. It took only 6 hours, the whole flight. Then we took off from Stornoway direct to Goose Bay, no stop. That was a little more challenge. We have had not really good weather at the very beginning, but at the end it came up 11 hours flight with 165 knots cruise and 42 gallons total fuel consumption.
Robert, tell me about your plans for the U.S. market.
Well, we're just penetrating the U.S. market. We currently have 14 flying in the U.S. right now and several under construction.
How much?
A typically well-equipped price for one of these is around $350,000 U.S. That can vary $10,000, $20,000 depending on options. But these are pretty well equipped, and they're coming in around $360,000, $350,000. So I think in the marketplace we're very competitive, but performance-wise, I can honestly say for the horsepower, normal cruise condition, we smoke about everybody.
What is the current production allocation for the U.S. market?
Today we are producing a little more than one plane per month. This year we're expecting to deliver 14 planes. We have 40 planes flying all over the world. So
we have roughly 14 in the U.S. right now. I have never flown an airplane that was this pure in terms of handling. And even my wife likes the fact that it's such a safe airplane with a 20-to-1 glide ratio and a ballistic parachute. And right now, it's about a 1-year out waiting list. That is going to unfortunately grow as we take in more orders, but that's the state of play right now.
After these messages, we check in on the DeltaHawk diesel engine program.
Jason Talley. First and foremost, I'm a pilot. Love flying. Also, I'm the chairman and CEO of Baker's Burgers, a fast food restaurant business based in Southern California. I've used GoGo for a number of years. Probably the last 4 or 5 years I had a GoGo system in my aircraft. And GoGo represents the unique kind of trifecta of reputation, service quality, and price point that just makes sense for me.
I grew up in an aviation family. My dad flew airplanes and flew air shows actually, so ever since I was 3 years old, the only thing I've ever wanted to do was be an air show pilot. It's cliche, but I get to live my dream every single day. I'm currently using the Hartzell Talon, the new aerobatic propeller. It's increased the performance of the airplane. It's made the harmonics balance throughout the airplane so much better. By far the best aerobatic propeller that I've ever flown behind.
Welcome back to Whitman Regional Airport, where we're bringing you all the latest and greatest from Oshkosh 2024. If you've seen something especially cool around AirVenture today, let us know with hashtag Osh24Cool on your social media posts. We'd love to check it out. Now let's get an update on the DeltaHawk diesel engine program. The DeltaHawk aviation program boasts truly innovative tech and is getting ready to make an impact in GA. It's been years since we've seen a new American power plant, much less one that takes advantage of truly modern technology. But DeltaHawk is readying for production and has a number of OEMs drooling over the prospect of a jet-powered GA mill.
This morning, DeltaHawk is pleased to announce that we've entered into an agreement with Vulcan Air to incorporate our DHK 180 engine into their V1 aircraft. We have already begun sharing engineering data and technical resources to incorporate not only into the V1 aircraft, but follow that, the P-68 and the Aviator platforms from Vulcan Air. We do have more OEM integration announcements to come, but that's what we have for today.
From a business standpoint, last year we talked about taking reservations. We just opened up our reservation platform. We have been, for lack of a better word, overwhelmed with engine deposits from individual owners for both experimental and certified aircraft, and obviously there's the OEM interest on the other side of the equation. From a technical standpoint, we've made a number of improvements to the engine because we decided before we shipped our first engine there were some things we knew would really make it better, and we didn't want any first customers to think, why didn't I wait? And so the most important one is this. We have a new engine block technology. I invite you to come over to our booth to see it. Our existing block was fine. It passed FAA certification testing, and it was a great block. But we knew we could do better. We had some external oil lines and other lines which are now incorporated internally into the block. That makes it easier to install, certainly a lot easier to maintain, and reduces possible leak points. So just basic improvements to the overall technology of the block. Between the engine itself and our firewall forward packages, we've taken 78 pounds out of our normal installation package. That's a big number. That's something we're very proud of.
Piper's M700 and their new training aircraft are building an impressive following. Jim Campbell's flight in the M700 a few months ago was an eye-opener.
Now, the M-Series Pipers have been a very interesting generation, obviously an evolution per se. But watching what's happened with the 700, which was quite a step up, and especially in a market that is incredibly competitive and also incredibly expensive, where you have a pretty significant value proposition. How do you see yourself in the middle of that right now?
You know, we don't want to talk about what we're working on, right? Because the M700 Fury came out. You didn't know we were working on it. I was asked, what are you working on? And so I'm going to say the same thing again, what I always say. It is imperative we reinvest in R&D, and customers should expect what they buy from us today, that there's something new and improved next year and the year after that. We have a duty to the brand, the Piper brand, that we constantly innovate and come out with new, best. And we're doing that. We are never spending more in R&D and engineering than what we're spending this year. And that will continue into next year, and it's for the foreseeable future. Very important. Always, customers should demand and expect more from Piper.
Now let's take a look at the Vintage Aircraft Association Youth Building ribbon cutting. From the past to the future, VAA starts them young. When you're trying to preserve the best of the best, it helps to get the next generation involved ASAP. The VAA took the wraps off their latest program, a dedicated youth building on the grounds of mighty Whitman Field.
This building is a culmination of many years of thought and planning, and it came from a couple of sources. Dave Clark started this youth program. Dave is a retired pharmacist. He was on our board of directors and a former vice president with the Vintage Aircraft Association. Of course, Dave started the programs, and he started a very simple hands-on tools kind of thing in the corner of the hangar, and then we sort of osmosed into a rented tent, and then we kept getting bigger tents, and then we finally decided it was time to build a building. Our goal, our mission, I sort of wrote a mission statement, and basically is to teach kids to use simple hand tools, screwdrivers, wrenches, hammers, things of that nature, to teach them to appreciate vintage airplanes, the history of vintage airplanes, and then as a sidebar, to teach them things like communication skills, a sense of community, patriotism, values, and things of that nature. All of that will be added into teaching them about the history of aircraft. I used to teach A&P school, airframe and power plant mechanics. So I did that for a while in a junior college, and I became a professional pilot later. That was my career as a professional pilot. But I followed the education system. I read a lot of books on the state of our current education system, and I feel that there is I'm going to use the word drastic need for education.
And coming up after the break, part 1 of our annual interview with EAA boss Jack Pelton.
Meet the first of a new generation of the M-Class family. The M700 Fury. An aircraft worthy of the name, an indomitable force. The M700 Fury transcends traditional limits. With more power, blistering performance, a finely appointed interior, and the luxury of what matters most. Time. Experience the Fury. Join the legacy.
Looking for a new generation of proven and efficient aviation power plants that boast modern engineering, electronic ignition, and both direct and gear drive systems? With 100 horsepower to 240 horsepower, the Skyline and Redline engines offer uncommon value in an overpriced industry. Whether you are looking for fixed wing or rotor, Int'vw Fly Americas has been established to service the American market with dedication and expertise. Int'vwFlyAmericas.com.
Skytron Avionics and Evolution offer 2 display options that are both highly customizable for your unique requirements. The 10.4-inch display is ideal for single or dual screen applications, while the 18-inch unpanel provides a larger, all-in-one screen, perfect for pilots looking for a simple VFR-only solution. The DAS100 is a revolutionary digital audio system specifically designed to simplify installation and enhance the audio experience with crystal clear audio clarity. Find out more at SkytronAvionics.com.
Welcome back. Is there a better guide for Oshkosh newbies than Jack Pelton? Jack talks about his recommendations for a first-time Oshkosh attendee in part 1 of our extensive interview with EAA's boss of bosses.
What recommendations do you have for folks who are coming to AirVenture 2024 and their first Oshkosh?
The advice I always give is it's overwhelming. So there's so much to see and so much to do. You've got to sit down, and if you're coming with a special interest focus, then sit down and plan around that focus so you don't miss it. Because let's say you're coming and you want to learn about home building. Between the forums, the workshops, the planes that are on display and the manufacturer here, get your agenda for the days you're going to be here to focus on those areas, because you could get sucked into other areas very quickly when you see the warbirds down there or the vintage areas. So do some planning, and we certainly, between our app and our online, our daily newspaper, can guide you through where you need to be and where you got to go. So, and I'm guilty of that every year. There's certain things and people I want to see and look at, and I carry a card around that's got them written down saying, check, check, check. It's getting towards Friday. You haven't gone by this booth that you wanted to see on something new. So that's probably the biggest advice I give. Plan to be here quite a few days. You still can't get it done in a week. So that's probably my biggest advice for AirVenture attendees. Secondary advice, talk to people. The people who have aircraft on display or who are camping are here because it's a big community, and it's a very welcoming community. They want to tell you their stories. Every year I go home with new stories. A lady that was looking for a ride from the North 40 jumps in my golf cart, and she had just flown over in her, I think it was a Mooney, by herself from Germany, not with a plan of meeting people and doing that, just to come to AirVenture, and it was kind of acting like it was no big deal. I just planned this out and figured it out, and here I am, and I'm camping. Yeah. She's coming back this year. She's going to be here again this year. She had so much fun last year. Those are amazing. You just kind of randomly stumble on somebody. She wasn't hosted or a guest or in a forum or a speaking series, and you're like, whoa, this is incredible. And so you hear those stories everywhere, so take the time to talk to people.
On the continuing subject of AirVenture 2024, is it true you're actually letting the Canadians come?
we're celebrating our Canadian. They're not.
The
Remember, we're not very far from them. They're just a little bit north of us. It's the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force, and they're coming down big time this year with the Snowbirds, who are absolutely one of the best performers. And more interesting is even the individuals that are the pilots. I think you recall a couple years ago where they camped under the wing of their airplane in the vintage campground because their jets are vintage age jets. But they're it's a whole different approach than our military demonstration teams. That's such a competitive, hand-picked, the chosen ones to fly. And
they have a whole different attitude.
They really do, and they pick the people that participate as pilots come from all different various areas of flying inside of Canada. So it's not just the fighter pilots, and that part is also very interesting to me. You could have a helicopter pilot, transport pilot, and they put them together as this team. But they're bringing down the Lancaster. They're going to have quite an F-18 that they're out of their flight test programs, and they'll be here, and they're probably right behind the South Africans in coming and enjoying and having fun and partying at Oshkosh. So that's going to be great.
Join us tomorrow for part 2 of our extensive All Things Pelton interview, where Jack gets to the point of what we're all waiting to hear about: mosaic, mosaic, mosaic. Stay tuned.
This week, I think there's going to be a lot of better understanding of what mosaic is going to do. And we're referring to it as light sport, or LSA 2.0. As I dig more into it to get ready for the event, I am even blown away as to what has happened and where this is going. If you look at the statistics of all of the registered airplanes that are single-engine piston today, not even including home builds, we could have 60% of the fleet being operated under light sport.
And that wraps up day 1 of AirVenture 2024. We'll see you back here tomorrow.